want to, however you call me, I don't really care. Welcome back to World Tanks. Today, playing the fabulous 110, the Chinese Tier 8 heavy tank. Also, when it was released, probably one of the biggest contenders or biggest competitors to the IS-3. Now, if you do remember the IS-3, back in its heyday, it was the strongest Tier 8 vehicle before they had the Defender, before they had the IS-6. It was such a powerful vehicle. It had the BL9 122mm gun that just ripped through everything. And if you were facing Tier 9s and Tier 10s, no problem with the BL9. You were able to do quite a lot of damage. So the 110 has a very similar design like the IS-3. It is also very flat. That does run rather quickly if you have unlocked all the modules. And it has a very competitive 100mm gun. Wait a minute, this is the 122mm gun. Yes, I unfortunately haven't fully unlocked this vehicle yet. And to be fair, I didn't understand the hype of this vehicle until I played this game, which was just 2 days ago. If you remember the IS-3, inside of your head, you'll remember the very pike nose design that the Soviets did kind of use on their heavy tank line. The IS-7 has it, the T-10 has it. Okay, the T-10 doesn't have it as much. The Object 257 has it, the IS-3 has it, and the only vehicle that isn't angled as like the former ones are the IS-1 and IS-2. Both of them are kind of a rounded shape at the front and welded differently than the IS-3. So the 110, on the other hand, has a very crazy profile. Its pike nose design is a lot more aggressive and a lot sharper in its angles than the IS-3. Now, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it depends on the side of, or the profile and the and basically the angle that the enemies are shooting at you. Now we're playing against some tier 7s and some tier 8s. Since we are top tier, there are quite a few tier 6 in here as well. And the angle of where they hit the pike nose is very important, because if you over angle this vehicle just a little bit, it does give them a very nice large area where they can penetrate your vehicle without having a lot of problems. So what you notice right here in this gameplay at the beginning is that we have basically just marched our way through the 9 and 0 line. This is a specialty that the Soviets and heavy tank lines do possess. They have heavy tanks that are more on the side of a hybrid than on the side of being a heavy vehicle, because they're not overly crazily armored, but their armor is good enough to withstand fire from the front from lower tier opponents and sometimes even same tier opponents like the FCM 50T. So it is quite tricky to engage them, and I never really understood the charm of this vehicle until I played this game. Now the 122mm gun that I'm using currently on this vehicle, it does tend to be a little bit of a weird option whenever I'm playing against higher tiers. It doesn't really do as well against tier 6 and tier 7 opponents as it does against tier 9 and tier 10s. It only has 175mm of penetration, but it has the very special ability to fire 122mm high explosive anti-tank rounds, and they have 250mm of penetration. Now that does certainly give you an advantage over the IS-6 or the IS-3's low-end gun, the 122, where you can only fire APCR and only have about 217mm of penetration. So what ended up happening here is I kind of overextended myself, because the vehicle just proved to be that very powerful in that kind of corridor. But this is a problem that you'll see yourself in quite a few times when you're playing a Soviet heavy tank or a Chinese heavy tank. You kind of maybe just overextend a little bit too much and you get too aggressive, and maybe you run into the open like that. Now, usually with artillery in the game, that would be very punishing, because artillery being able to hit your upper plate and the upper parts of your vehicle can do quite a lot of damage, especially since this vehicle isn't very well angled, very well armored overall. The angles are what make this vehicle so great. So what you can see right here is we have just done 3,513 damage, and we've bounced 3,670 HP worth of damage. Now, I'm not sure, but I've never had that much damage bounced on an IS-3. And I've played the IS-3 quite a lot. So what I've noticed is that this vehicle actually does have a crazy amount of potential to do a lot of damage and to withstand quite a few shells if you are top tier. Now, against tier 9 and tier 10 opponents, I've noticed that the armor, although it is angled very nicely, just doesn't hold up anymore. And now they've finally found the weak spot of this vehicle, which is the lower plate right here, which is quite prominently displayed, but they haven't been able to hit. So yeah, right here you can see a T-29 coming around the corner, engaging us with APCR. And obviously APCR, even from a tier 7 vehicle, is going to be able to go through the front of our vehicle. So is it an overpowered tier 8 vehicle? Is it as overpowered as the IS-3? Certainly not, no. Is it a very good competitive vehicle for tier 8? It is. I'm looking forward to the 110mm. I'm not sure if it's a 110mm gun or if it's a 100mm gun. I'm looking forward to the top tier gun on this vehicle, because then I'll be finally able to do some damage against some tier 9s and tier 10s. And yeah, I just want to show you guys a nice game in a vehicle that I didn't really expect to be this awesome in tier 8. Yeah, so I see you guys on the next one. Peace out.